Hey everyone, welcome to This Week in Marketing Show, also known as the TWIM Show. I'm your host Sajid Islam, and today I will be going over the notable news and updates in the digital marketing space from the week of August 24, 2020. So first, we're gonna begin with the news from Facebook. Facebook basically recently announced that iOS, Apple's upcoming iOS 14, is going to impact Facebook audience network effectiveness, right? And so what this basically means is that what Facebook is saying, because the way iOS 14 is going to work, um, users may not see ads from audience. Some users may not see ads from audience network, and others may, just because the way Apple has implemented privacy. And Facebook is like ringing the alarm bell and just freaking out about it, just because audience network is basically a big component of Facebook's ad inventory. So if you're not familiar with what audience network is essentially an add-on module, if you may call it, of Facebook. So on Facebook, we generally see ads on Facebook, but oftentimes when we click on an ad on Facebook, or say, for example, if we are reading something on article or a blog post within the Facebook app, and we will go to that page, and what we will see is other ads from Facebook, or maybe we'll go to a page on our website, on our web browser, on our desktop, and we will see ads from there, ads from Facebook network on those pages, right? So audience network is a way for Facebook to push their ad inventory, ads in their platform, to other properties that are not directly controlled by Facebook itself. And Facebook is like saying, just because way Apple is going to make some changes, they're gonna probably not going to be able to see ads within audience network, or if they do, some may not, right? We haven't seen it. iOS 14 is right now in beta. So what does this all mean, and why is Facebook really coming out and sharing this information proactively? Well, there are a couple of reasons. Number one is Facebook is saying its ad revenue from this audience network would probably drop by 50%. Keep in mind, we are really going into the Q4 timeframe of 2020, where this is the holiday season here in the US and around the world. So we're going to see Black Friday, we're going to see Christmas, and Facebook is coming out and saying we're going to see 50% quote unquote drop in publisher revenue. Now, there are a couple of reasons why they do this. Number one, Facebook is a public company. So if there is any material change, they need to announce it ahead of time and alert their shareholders so that they can move things around accordingly. So that's like their fiduciary duty, or if not, Securities and Exchange Commission is going to come and actually drop the hammer on them. That's number one. Number two is also, this is actually their political as well. What they're trying to do is they're trying to position themselves as the victim of this privacy thing that Apple is doing. Now it's not really they're playing a politics with Apple itself, but remember, Facebook is under scrutiny with the US government, particularly quote unquote the Congress, to kind of because they have too much user data, and they have too much of sway on what they do. So they're coming out as a proactive measure, saying look, hey guys, look, you shouldn't really think of regulating us, because what, we are victim now, we don't have access to all these things, right? So that's, in my opinion, that's the other play, and that's really what Facebook is trying to do. Because come on folks, if you ever done any advertisements and any tracking on Facebook, audience network itself really is a hit or miss. It really doesn't bring you much in terms of results. So Facebook is doing this, and people who do not do Facebook advertisement for a living are actually doing audience network, and they lose money, and they really cannot track and things like that at a high level. I'm overgeneralizing this thing. So in my opinion, that's what Facebook is trying to do, which is come out the gate and put it as up front, in the front, so that if the next time around Mark Zuckerberg is in front of Congress, he could actually use this as an argument, saying, look, remember the time we talked about iOS 14 and how we couldn't really track users? That's still happening. So, but anyway, that's still like, I don't have any evidence, I don't have any proof. This is my opinion. With that, let's move on to the next one. Update. The next update is from Facebook. Facebook recently did, Facebook Live, showing how to use Facebook Live Producer to maximize live stream broadcast. Like and Facebook has been doing this for a while. Right, they've been doing this for a while since the pandemic began, where they've been teaching different things and teaching people how to better use the platform. Last week on our show, we covered something of this nature on Facebook in terms of what to do, Facebook Lives, as well as what to do with Facebook Stories, things like that. And that seems to be the trend with all these platforms. Early on, these platforms were, whether you talk about Facebook, LinkedIn, or any platforms, these were all about user. Let's drive users. We need more users. And then what happened was, as they were doing a push for users and businesses were coming on, there was a lot of content and education on these things. And then this side industry grew, which was, or mushroomed up, which was basically on educating, how to do Facebook Live, how to write Facebook Stories, and all these education coaching industries that started up, right? And these were people who were doing a lot of their own formats based on their own experience and anecdotal experiences, things like that. So now Facebook is coming out and saying, hey, here's what you need to do from the horse's mouth. Like, here it is, you hear it from us. And some of the content is pretty good. So if you're not paying attention to this, please pay attention and you will be glad you did. Right. And then with that, this is again, the next update is also from Facebook, where their community, they held a community education event where basically they're saying, engaging your community and hosting online events. Like, what this is all about, this is actually catered more towards Facebook groups. And this is the best part of this show, right? Even I will tell you, as a marketer, I was not aware of this thing, that Facebook has this thing called Facebook community page, and they did all these events. And when I was looking through it, it was mind-blowing. Why this mind-blowing overall, especially in particular, this event was like, they are talking about Facebook group, how to engage your Facebook group. And they did this in English, German, and Portuguese. So I just looked at the English one, where there were 18,000 reactions on the video, which was about 55 minutes long, over 2,000 plus shares, and 269,000 views, right? And this came out like 3 or 4 days ago, right? Today we are recording this on the 30th of August. It's a Sunday, and this thing came out, I believe, on the 25th, like 4 days ago, 5 days ago. I could be wrong. I didn't track the date itself. But what does it all mean? It all means that this is a really valuable content. People are actually consuming it up. And the person who spoke, who was called, this lady called Kate, she manages a group on Facebook called Social Media Managers Group. She's been on Facebook group for 10 years. That's what she said. She says she's a veteran. She has 10 years. And her group, I checked it out, it has 45,000 members in her group in Facebook, right? So, and I will share one tip, like, she shared in the beginning of the video, and we're going to share most of this tip in our private Facebook group. Come to talk about Facebook group, we have a private Facebook group under Market and Grow. We'll put the link on this group, to this group, in our show notes. Check it out. What this is, but I will just show, just because of the time complexity and everything, we cannot go through all the tips and everything and discuss everything in details, but we want to do our separate segment for all these tips, what we learned, and brain dump, as well as brainstorm things like we can implement in our own business and own groups. So the first thing she talked about is like creating a shared identity with your members, which basically means give your group a name, give your members a name. So one great example is Russell Brunson of ClickFunnels, amazing marketer. He calls all his people in his group called funnel hackers, right? And then every time he's calling, hey, funnel hackers this and funnel hacker that. So that's what Kate was saying, and I think that resonated very well with me. She said, use a visual representation, use the word funnel hacker anytime you can. Not overdo it just because you have to do it, but do it, and that would be really helpful. So with that, I'm gonna stop here. Check it out, that video, if you really wanna go geek out on this content and discuss with us. Do make sure you join our Facebook group, where we are gonna be able to have more time and geek out on this. With that, let's move on to the last update from Facebook, which is Facebook has launched Facebook Shop. It's a new place to discover businesses and shop for products in Facebook app. I checked it out, and I will tell you, this is a one amazing thing, right? Even though I don't have any, personally, I do not have any, e-commerce store